Okay, we're going to do collective reading, but this one's already really heavy. I was actually seeing someone who's very visibly upset, and the feeling I was getting was anger, but it's like that kind of anger where you're just like you're sobbing through it, right? It's not a sadness. It's really just like an all-consuming rage. And I was actually seeing someone pacing around their room. So this is either currently how you're feeling, or you are sitting in a place of remembering feeling that way. Um, and it's very, very heavy. So let's just see what's going on with you guys today. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, there's two there. Okay, so you've got, I think these actually came out like that. So you've got the unsent messages with the "you're my drug," gaslighted, toxic ties, and living in memories. So this is for if it's really your reading, something's happened recently that's really brought up a lot of very painful emotions from some sort of situation that you feel was incredibly toxic. Or, I mean, if you feel that way, it probably was. But this gaslighted, this manipulated, doubting yourself, trusting the truth. It's interesting because I was also seeing whoever this reading is for. I was seeing someone like zoom in on a picture, like they were looking through their feed, and saw a picture of someone, but like in the background, they were like zooming in to see someone else or something else. And I think that was the moment that triggered the state that I'm seeing this collective be in, which is really, really hard. This toxic ties is this addiction, karma, and emotional chain. So you could feel really bound to this emotionally. Well, obviously you would if it's coming back over you again. Maybe you were in a place where you were really starting to feel like you had a handle on this emotion, and it wasn't bothering you as much. And, you were getting out of the house or hanging out with your friends, whatever it was. But I'll just say this, don't be too hard on yourself, because I feel like was not that long ago. Maybe whatever was originally very painful for you. And it can sometimes take years to get over situations that make us feel that way. Do you know what I mean? So just keep that in the back of your mind. But this unsent messages with the "you're my drug," I think that's the part of you that you're realizing is still there in a very uncomfortable way. It's almost like I'm hearing you're mad at yourself that you want to reach out to someone about something. You're having cravings. You think it's an emotional addiction. There's extreme highs and extreme lows. And then on this unsent messages card, it says, "What was never said, holding back, drafted, and erased." So I think you've written out that, all those paragraphs, or when to make a phone call, and you just keep stopping yourself because you can feel within yourself that it's, or at least what this is what you're telling yourself, right? Because I'm just confirming your energy. So before we can get all the messages to come out, but you're telling yourself that there's no use. Like, this person or the situation is toxic. I should just disengage. It's not even worth my time. But either way, you're hitting replay in your mind over and over and over and over again. And it's causing you such a state of, like, I was genuinely seeing someone who like could not sit still. They were so upset. And I think you're upset at yourself more than anything. And we definitely want to walk you back out of that emotion, because regardless of whatever part you played in this situation, if someone treated you unfairly and in a harmful way, that's not because of who you are, and it's not your fault, right? Even if you saw it coming, even if, they told you flat out, X, Y, and Z, we'll get into it, but it is your choice to walk away from things when a situation doesn't suit you. And even if you keep going back to it, it doesn't mean that you deserve pain. It just means that you need to learn a lesson that you're not learning, right? Um, let's get one more for this gaslighted. It's not me, it's trauma. So this would be with this person or this situation. I think it's one individual person. It could be a group of friends though. Like, again, we'll get I'll get Tara to confirm everything, but I think whatever happened in the past, and even now, I think you're getting a lot of advice or consuming a lot of media, or even this person told you flat out, like, if I'm very traumatized and this is what I'm working through and I'm just triggered right now. And although those things can be true, that over the gaslighting is manipulative because it doesn't matter what someone's emotional state is or how much trauma they have or what their neurodivergence is or like whatever it is. And I say that as like a neurodivergent person who's also fucking disabled. So don't even think about it. But to anybody else watching, I'm like, don't even try. But it doesn't matter. It's not an excuse for poor behavior. And it also can't really be a reason that you shove down someone's throat and gaslight them with. That is toxic behavior. So you seeing this as a toxic tie, I agree with you. I agree with you. That's an incredibly harmful thing for someone to do. Say, "Oh, I cheated on you because I have abandonment wounds," or, "Oh, I lied to you because my parents were abusive towards me." We all have trauma. It's not an excuse, right? But this is what you're playing in your mind. Because what it also I'm hearing did, and this is really important for you to remember when this is coming over you, is that it didn't leave any room for your wounds, which all of our trauma is our responsibility to heal. And there's a difference between um, co-regulation, which is really healthy and important to our species, but um, co-regulation and what's it called? Oh my God, why am I blanking on this word? I say it almost every day. Codependency, sorry. Um, there's a difference between those two. So if someone is constantly doing things that are harmful and toxic to you, and they're saying, "Oh, well, it's because I'm traumatized," that's not they're not trying to co-regulate. They're using you as an excuse to act poorly, right? And again, you staying would have been your choice. However, it's not important to the narrative right now. Well, you're already in a state of an emotional trigger to be blaming and shaming, especially when if you do any like tertiary resource or research on the statistics of people who have been abused by their partners or family and friends, like the type of psychology that goes behind the victim blaming end of that, it's not helpful or useful. So just keep reminding yourself that and understand that anything I say, it's not coming from a place of blame. I'm not blaming you. I'm just trying to give you whatever message is coming out, right? Because I'm on your side. Um, what's this toxic ties? Only when convenient. So this person made you feel used in more than one way, and that is absolutely fucking horrible. Absolutely horrible. So anytime that they were in a lower place, that's when they reached out to you. Not when they were wanting to have fun, not when they were wanting to go out, not when they were wanting to share in the lighter end of a relationship, because most healthy relationships will have both sides, right? They were only reaching for you when they were in pain, which made you their caregiver, whether they were aware of it or not. And then they would have blamed it on their trauma when you would have pointed it out. So you're onto the money with your perception of the situation. The way this person framed it, no matter what, they were going to be a victim. And you were always either going to be put in two categories only, which is against them or 100% supporting them. And that's not how relationships work. It's really sad. This person's like sitting in a diner or something, and there's like a little bubble above them. They're looking at their phone where it says, "Are you still there? I'm not coming tonight." So it's really unacceptable behavior. I don't care what someone's trauma is. It's incredibly unacceptable behavior to treat someone like their only value is to stop you from hurting, that they don't just have value because they're alive and living the human experience on the planet, sharing, this world with all the other living things and Mother Earth herself. Like we have value outside of what we do for other people. And I think for this collective specifically, that probably would have hit the way this person was treating you, your trauma, but they didn't leave you any space in this dynamic for you to heal that or find comfort from them in that, right? I'm feeling, and again, this is not coming from a place of judgment. I feel like you guys are quite young, or you met this person when you were very young, and that's why you had a loyalty to this person. But Either way, if you're not, it feels like a very, on their end, like a very immature and reckless kind of way of dealing with emotion that you got caught in the crossfire in. And again, whether you chose to stay or not, we'll get you all the messages so that you don't put yourself in this situation ever again. But it doesn't make it hurt any less. Um, what's this? Living in the memories. Burned the bridge. So you've already cut ties with this person 100%, but it's still dragging on in your soul. So what your brain, right? What your brain, I'm just going to, from experience, I'm going to tell you what's probably happening. And again, we'll get Dex to confirm it. What your brain is doing, because your brain still doesn't understand how it could get itself, your body and you in this situation, right? It wants this justice, this closure. And I think you've tried for a long time to give yourself closure. And that is an exercise and a skill that takes a very long time to learn, right? It takes years and years to learn how to give yourself your own closure. And even then, sometimes when we think of things that don't have external closure, it's still going to sting, right? But it's riding the wave and walking through that emotion and that impulse. But either way, you've already burned the bridge, and your brain is trying to figure out why the emotion is still coming over you. So because the brain can only really bring up old patterns of behavior to try to learn lessons over again. Like, think of it like a code. It's like you haven't gotten new experiences to teach yourself and teach your body and your brain that you could encounter someone else like this and not do the same thing. So what is your brain going to do? It's going to start replaying the situation that most recently hurt you so that you can try to figure out how to get out of it. It's a type of intellectualization that in the moment of a trigger like this, that what you're going through right now, it's hard to see that because we're feeling it. And the brain's like, all right, how do we get out of this? How do we get out of this? How do we get out of this? Because your brain just wants to make you feel better. It doesn't want to feel the emotions. It wants to survive. That's all it wants to do. It's trying to keep you alive. Your body in the somatic practice of recognizing what your actual physical meat suit is doing is a completely different thing. The brain will fuck up that heart-mind connection any chance it gets when you're in an emotional trigger. Because again, a trigger comes when our brain says we're no longer safe. How do we keep ourselves safe? Even if there's no actual external threat. Do you get if this is really your reading, you'll get exactly what I'm saying. So anyways, you've already burned this bridge. So in your mind, you've told yourself it's over, I'm safe, we're good, we're done. But anytime something from that situation, like I think you saw something, or even you just had a dream, or you're going for a walk and you smell something, something triggered you. And so the brain is like, all right, so this situation is back. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that's why it's confusing. Seeing the lesson outside the box requires two things, in my opinion. It requires feeling what you're feeling in the moment that you're feeling it and not trying to fight it to make yourself feel better. There's a difference between ruminating and getting stuck in an emotion for an extended period of time, which means you're not actually healing it or feeling it, because an emotion typically will last like about under a minute. Generally speaking, it's the wave of emotion through our body so we can get it out, the pressure relief. But you got to feel what you're feeling in the minute and validate yourself. And then when you calm down from an emotional trigger with all of the tools that you acquire over time and learning and, skill or whatever, then you start to see the lesson outside the box, right? You take this person, this situation, blah, 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 out of it. And you say, why did I stay? Or why did this person feel safe in my energy when all I did was silence myself? Like, why didn't I speak up for myself? So you can get down to the root of what's actually happening. It's a deeper wound, your trauma, that's being triggered by this situation, and your brain saying, no, it's just the situation. It's just the situation. You get what I'm saying? I hope it's making sense, because I can see exactly where your brain is getting confused on why this is coming up over you again. It's because it's actually triggering your trauma. It's not about the situation. And I think I said it before. We'll get a wounding card here to confirm it. But I think this completely triggered in you some sort of trauma that you had when it came to taking care of others and putting your wants and your needs aside. Some sort of either abandonment or, hyper intellectualization, something. We'll get down to it. You have already had your final goodbye. So now let's work on you and stay away from whatever that situation is, especially if you're seeing things, you guys have the same friends. I'm not telling you to cut all your friends off and, ghost anybody or whatever, but disengaging from ingesting that sort of media while you're trying to heal this is 100% critical to your healing, because until you get a grasp on what is actually being triggered, you will just keep making your trauma worse until you can figure out what's actually going on, right? Once you figure out what's going on, then healing requires you to expose yourself to the world and people, blah, 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 so that when you're triggered, which you will, and we never heal trauma 100%. Even me, like some of my childhood wounds get triggered all the time, but I'm so used to recognizing it and walking through it. Get what I'm saying? But like, you have to trigger it to know if you're healing. I can tell in your energy that you're too raw in this. Like, the wound is still very much open and bleeding. We got to get to why it's bleeding, and we got to get to stop bleeding before you can start to heal it, before it can scar over, before we can even test whether or not it's ready to, have that bandage taken off and you go out into, your world. Get what I'm saying? That you're living in the memories because you haven't gotten down to the bottom of it yet. It's not about this person or the situation. It's about you. It's about you. So let's just get one of those right away. What is being triggered in this collective trauma? One more. Loneliness. Perfect emotional impression. And I think I said it. Every time this person would come in, you would know, your gut would be telling you, oh, they only come in when they need something. They only call me when they're upset. They only want to talk about what's going on in their life. But you never said anything about it. And it's not because just this one person had ultimate and control and power over your mind. This is in your soul before you met this person. Shows up as difficulty expressing or acknowledging emotions, leading to numbness, frustration, or outbursts. I believe it, but it's perfectly on the money with everything that we've already said. May manifest as suppressing feelings, avoiding pain, or fearing vulnerability, often resulting in internalized stress and unresolved emotional wounds. That is what is going on in your soul with these two. You burnt the bridge, but you're still in the cycle because you have not fully acknowledged this yet. So it's really painful. I understand this. You have to go back as far as you can to when this first started and start digging up some of those emotional wounds so that you can validate them, feel it, and then walk through it, right? It's not holding a grudge. It's not lingering in the past. It's not rumination. It's just saying, you know what? I've been doing this my whole life. Why have I been doing that? How do I stop doing? I don't want to do that anymore. What does it feel like when this comes over me? Do I clam up? Do I shut down? Do I just go into a fawn or a freeze response? How can I walk out of that? Like, being proactive about it. Because otherwise this is never going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter who's in your life. You're going to constantly have situations where you don't speak your wants and your needs. And you're going to come off, honestly, as a little bit avoidant because you're going to be so closed off emotionally. You're going to burn bridges, and then it's going to constantly trigger this cycle over and over and over again. And what else came out? And so it's also the loneliness wound and the cynicism wound. So okay, so just walk with me. Because again, this is your energy, so I'm just trying to confirm it. What happens is this gets triggered. You don't say what you want and what you need, right? You're not speaking your emotions. You're also not feeling them, and you're not being honest with yourself on how you're feeling in situations. So that gets triggered, and you perpetuate a cycle and a narrative that you've been telling yourself probably for your whole life, which is that you're a loner, nobody gets you, nobody understands you, you crave deep connection, but nobody gets close enough to try, or when they do, they, leave you, blah, 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 whatever it is. And that is the cynicism wound that has propped up from the inability or unwillingness, whatever it is, no judgment, to actually acknowledge your emotions. And then it creates a loneliness wound because you're so terrified of getting close to people because you don't want them to hurt you. And so you're so desperately lonely because you, in your mind, are telling yourself, oh, as soon as I get close to that person, they're just going to use me. They're just going to do this. And I can't say how I'm feeling because then they'll just leave. Do you get what I'm saying? The ultimate goal in healing something like this is that when you encounter people who are not reciprocal with their emotions, their time, their energy, that you will still be okay because it won't be a direct reflection of your worth, your value, your time, your energy. It will just be who they are, and you can detach from it and walk away from it. You get what I'm saying? Again, and that just takes time and patience, and it takes like truly wanting to change. I think you do. I think you really do want to change. But as soon as you get close to touching that core wound of emotional unavailability, you clam up. So we got to stop that pattern of thinking when it happens so that you can recognize it, understand it, actually feel your emotions in a very safe way, and then walk through the trigger, letting the wave hit, and then watching the water rush out. Do you know what I mean? Because I can feel it, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to do this reading. I really didn't. I just wanted to go to bed. I didn't want to like. I was so uncomfortable with the idea of tapping into this energy because I could feel how overwhelmed you are. But I think it's really important. Um, if nothing else, to just even hear it, even if you don't do any of the tips and tricks, even if you push this reading away, which I think you probably would, and come back to it, like, even if you get a little bit of a message in there, it will be better than you constantly repressing. Because again, it's not going to go anywhere. I can promise you that. I've read some people who have been emotionally repressing their whole life, and they're such a husk of a human. At 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, you don't want to get to that place, because with those people, and I've said it before in other reading, it's so sad, the chronic health issues and just the like dilapidation of their lives. They have no joy because they don't know how to experience emotion in any safe way. So not even the good ones. And we don't want that to happen to you. Do you know what I mean? And if it's already been happening, we want it to stop so that you can, like, life isn't about everything being like sunshine and rainbows, but it's a spectrum, and you should be able to experience the spectrum. So um let's just see. Oh, what's that? An abuse. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. um let's just see what's being activated in your karmic contract right now. Yeah. Oh, 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 that's kind of a lot. Let's just get these two. So first one that came out was restore the broken self. You're not broken to the point of disrepair. That would mean that you're dead. And until you are dead, at hopefully a very, very rightful age, that means that there's still time for you to heal and be better. It says parts of you were left behind in pain. Call them home. You're ready to become whole again. So you could even be telling yourself that this person took things from you that you'll never get back, and you'll never experience love or friendship or kindness because this person really did a number on you. And this probably, I don't know if this would be the best thing to say, but it's just something that I know to be true, probably more than a lot of other things. There's some people who will break your heart in ways that you will never, ever, ever get over 100%. But that does not mean that you will be broken forever. You will just always have a piece of that pain that will be very real inside you. But over time, it gets much easier to soothe and acknowledge and walk through. But it does happen. And anybody who says, oh, you'll get over it, you'll be fine, I think it's kind of an unrealistic way to speak to someone who's in pain. Because, like, ask anybody who's even lost a loved one. Like, you grieve your entire life. And I genuinely believe from experience, there are some things that can happen to you, especially in like relationships, that you will never fully heal from in a way that makes you feel like it never happened. But it's not supposed to. It's just your story. It doesn't mean that they get to have a piece of you for the rest of your life that you'll never get back. It means that there will just always be that piece that really, really hurts. It's still yours though. You still get to hold on to it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I know it's probably not the best thing to say to someone who's in pain, but I just think to being honest is probably the best idea with you, because again, I didn't even want to sit down to do this. So I don't think you're really open to hearing a bunch of toxically positive advice. I'm just going to be real. Like, it's going to hurt. There's things that have happened between me and other people from like 20 years ago that still, when I really sit down and think about it, especially if I visualize it, hurt in the exact same way it did when it happened. And I'm fine. Like, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, I allow myself the full spectrum of human emotion. So I promise you it's possible. But and to be okay about it, but release the resentment loop. Resentment isn't power, it's poison. Stop replaying the story. You're free to choose peace. And resentment, I talk about all the time because it's such a sneaky little emotion. It doesn't happen in an instant, and then all of a sudden we feel resentment, right? It builds up so slowly over time that we don't even realize that it is this, snaggle-toothed, drooling, bug-eyed monster that comes out of us when we get triggered. It's so slow growing. It's such a rot in the soul because it comes from the reason you have resentment is because you knew when whatever was happening to you was happening that you should have walked away and you didn't. That's what it comes from. It's not from anybody else. The resentment comes from you knowing or feeling like you should have walked away and you didn't. And so now you hate that person or you think they're evil, whatever, to try to justify the fact that you didn't listen to yourself, right? But you're free to choose to walk away from that. Nobody is holding you hostage. Resentment is something you have to work out on your own. Even if whatever the situation is, I'm not sure we're going to tap into it yet because I really don't think it'd be helpful for this collective. But whatever that situation is, even if it magically overnight changed and it was perfect, you would still have resentment within you. So you have to heal that. That's your job. Choose with love. Love is the most powerful force. Choose love over fear, and your life will transform. There's that toxically positive advice that I don't think you want to hear. Your love should have condition. I think unconditional love is really a beautiful idea, but it really doesn't apply to every situation. It's something to aspire to, for sure. But if someone treated you poorly, even if you should have walked away, even if part of, whatever happened, whatever percentage of it was your fault, because it's not ever going to be 100% someone else's fault. Well, not usually. Choosing to still love that person while not acknowledging the pain is just going to create more hatred in your heart. So you don't have to choose to love them. And I'm not telling you to in any way, shape, or form. That takes literal years for you to get through whatever you're feeling, for you to be, appreciative of the time you spent with them and separate yourself from, however they treated you, to just understand they were going through their own shit and not taking it personally. You're nowhere near that right now. So don't even try. Choose to love you and not have resentment for yourself for not standing up for yourself sooner, and choose to truly start loving yourself by healing yourself, because that's the only way it's going to happen, is when you believe that you are someone who deserves to heal. And in order to do that, you have to unconditionally love yourself, all the good, bad, and the ugly. And it's really hard because when you start healing, you have to start being honest about who you really are to yourself without bringing toxic shame into it. And you have to start facing some of those parts of yourself that you don't totally like and loving that person anyways. It's really, really hard, but you have to do it. Or stay where you are right now and perpetuate the cycle for your whole life. But it will break you. It will absolutely break you. I don't think you're gonna do that, but I'm just saying, like, there's only really two options. You can't half-ass healing. You either heal or you don't. A lot of people will drop out of their healing journey once they get to the stage where they have to start being honest with themselves. It's easy to be a victim, and it's easy to be someone who was traumatized by someone else. It's it's a master level of truly healing when you can see both sides of the coin and understand what responsibility you have to take for every situation that you've ever been in. And I say it all the time. It's a very rare situation that someone is truly a victim. And I don't even like speaking about it or speaking it into existence, but you could, probably come up with 10 scenarios right now where someone is truly 100% a victim. That's not this collective right now. And I think you know that. You know what I mean? Okay, let's just see how source is seeing your energy. Oh, the hawk, seeing things from a higher perspective. So you're trying. I think you're genuinely trying. And I think you're doing a great job. But we got to get you. Oh, the scorpion. Yeah, that really tracks. I'm going to read these to you. But the hawk truly rising above and seeing things from the perspective that they need to be seen from. So and again, it makes sense with that, the burned bridge, but the cycles, like, you know that that's not right. You know that you've already closed the door 100%, and there's no reason for you to be thinking about it. Now, taking the leap as to why, again, which is why this message would be finding you. But again, this is how Source is seeing your energy. Hold on, I'm going to pause. Okay, so the first one is the hawk, watchful, all-seeing, messenger of divinity. They could literally be a sign for you, or maybe after this reading, if it really resonated with you, start asking to see the signs, see hawks as a sign, to remind you of this message. Because remember, your signs are for you. You should never dedicate or allocate signs about somebody else, because they're not going to come in, just telling you. And if they do, it's just coincidence. Like your team, Source, Creator, the divine, God, whoever you think is up there watching over you, they are not going to give you signs about another person when you're in extreme emotional anguish. They're your team, right? So maybe, again, allocate the signs. Just a little tip on how to walk yourself out of a trigger when you really feel like you are spiraling is to ask for help, and you'll get it. You will. So it says, the sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move. This keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eyes on you and the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings and is sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly, though. It seems small or insignificant. It will redirect your course. So, well, I'm going to have to get your soul contract and see if there's something coming up. Because oftentimes, too, I find, especially with people who are very both spiritually inclined, because if you're watching tarot, you're open to that frequency in one way or form. You don't have to be a tarot reader. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're just open to that frequency. But on top of that, also being a true empath, where you just very much feel emotion in a deep and profound way that is very uncomfortable and unsettling at times, which I think this collective is and does. Sometimes when this trigger comes up, it's everything we said, but the reason it's coming up too is because there could be something on your timeline that's about to really trigger it, and they want to give you all the tools available so that it doesn't make your trauma worse, right? So again, we'll get your contract so that we can see what's happening, because how Source is seeing your energy is they want you to see things from a higher perspective. So other than just healing, we'll find out why. But then the turtle, and this is such a great card, but it's ancient soul, grounded, trusting, and at home in the self. This turtle energy is behind all great writers and storytellers as they collect life experiences under their shells for later use. The most potent turtle energy helps us close all other books and begin to tell our own true tale. So it makes sense with, watch the whole thing if you're just now tuning in. But I was saying, this collective, the narrative you've been telling yourself, you know it's not accurate, true, and helpful for you, right? You know that you are not 100% just a victim in this situation. And that's a great realization. But if you're not changing the narrative, then you are perpetuating that energy in your auric field, right? Because what we see with these eyes, unfortunately, these stupid meat eyeballs that barely see anything at all, not even all spectrums of color and light and frequency, like they barely see anything in reality. This is what shapes our reality. And it is so imperfect that if you are telling, your brain is saying, oh, they destroyed me and they did it on purpose, you're going to start to see things in your life that are going to confirm that reality to try to soothe your soul, right? It's confirmation bias. We all do it to a certain extent. But once you become self-aware of it, you can say, oh, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. And your soul will be screaming the entire time, we're not a victim. You know, we have these tools. It wasn't just them, blah, 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 blah. But the brain, again, the thing I went into at the very beginning, it's trying to make sense of a situation so it can create a pattern of thinking that will keep you safe. That's it. That's all it's doing. It has no, it's not very good at healing on its own. It needs so many other components. So just keep that in mind, because they're also seeing you as the scorpion. You could be a Scorpio. If you are, I love you guys as Scorpios, but, and you know that you do this, so this isn't me attacking you, but you guys do by far the most sensitive of all the signs. I know people say it's Cancer. Anybody who's ever met a Scorpio knows otherwise. You guys feel way more deeply, but you would never tell anybody. You bottle it up, you silence yourself, and then look what happens, right? Again, not a moral failing, but you guys are so terrified of letting other people in. That cool water that is your exterior is so profoundly deep that sometimes you drown in it yourself, and you pull others down with you when you're drowning in this emotion that you're not expressing. Do you know what I mean? And again, I love you guys. You guys are my favorite water sign. and I have a Pisces moon. So like, but it would make so much sense to me if you guys are Scorpios or you have really strong Scorpio placements, especially in your Venus or your moon sign. Passionate, competitive, tends towards isolation. So the Scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is very important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the Scorpion's heat festers and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they were left feeling burned. Perfectly confirms every single thing we've talked about. And sources saying that that is in your energy 100%. 100%. So it's a part of your core personality, which again, there's probably great attributes to this, but I'm not even going to go into thinking about what those might be because right now it's what's stinging you. You're stinging yourself right now by holding on to the past. You are free to walk away from that emotion anytime, but it requires real hard work to do it. Says the Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usually fiery but fun self. So when out of balance, jealous, resentful, and unresolved, everything we said fits perfectly with this one card. The other two, I think, are messages on energy that you're morphing into. So let's get your soul contract and see where you are in your timeline right now. Because obviously, I'm not going to be able to get your whole contract, but we'll get enough of it to see if there's something coming down the road. All right, Source. Where is this collective in their contract right now? What you signed in. So if you don't like it, you got to take it up with your soul. But your soul probably knows what it's doing. Most souls do. What's that? Oh, so you've got the light bulb, the mask, the detour, the clover card, and the megaphone. So this light bulb card is all about having a breakthrough. It's some sort of aha moment and epiphany. I'm hearing it's like this reading could be, or even just the feelings you've been having for the past however many days and realizing this pattern within yourself. You're clearly in a moment where you're doing some real deep reflection and you're having some light bulb moments, right? But what it's leading to is mask behavior. So we'll have to get a few more to confirm whether or not your mask is coming up to protect you as it normally does, right? From the time that you're a tiny human until now, that was its job. And it did a great job when you were tiny, but now it's getting in the way of your soul's progress. But because you've got course disruption here with the detour. And that's why I'm like a little bit worried about these two cards. Because if the mask comes up in a moment where it really needs to stay mostly down, it's causing this course disruption. And again, this would be your pattern of behavior that we are trying to get you to be very painfully self-aware of so that you can change it in the moment of ignition, right? And then you've got a card about being, happy and lucky and a coincidence and an unexpected rendezvous. And that's kind of what I'm worried about. I was already seeing someone who was like, thumbing through a feed and sees something in the background of a photo that's like really triggering them. So I think that's kind of what happened. Because if something came to my mind visually with my clairvoyance, it's usually for a very specific reason. But this going public, being heard, spotlight, publish, amplify. So I think it really aligns with how I started this and what I was seeing, which is that this collective, you're kind of just chugging along and having these realizations, being like, oh, I'm fine. And then the mask comes up and a course disruption happens where you see something that's been published online, right? I think that's where you are literally in your contract. But again, it's going to keep happening. So let's just confirm each one. What's this light bulb energy? Oh, yeah. It literally came from you getting more information with this magnifying glass, doing your research, examining the fine print. Just a word of advice. And again, it comes from experience, not judgment. If you are in a place where you know that opening Pandora's box and having a look-see at other people's profiles or being friends, online or in real life with people who are still attached to whoever that person or situation was, is something that triggers you, just some advice, disengage. You don't have to cut everybody off. If you're a Scorpio, you're already kind of a loner, so I don't want you to do that. But consider muting those people on your feed. Consider maybe asking your friends like, hey, if so and so is going to be somewhere, can you just tell me, because I want to be emotionally prepared. You're not in a place right now where you can have surprises come up and you can deal with it, because it's throwing you in a complete tailspin. You've got to get some tools under your belt on how to soothe yourself before that becomes a hurdle that you can just jump through and be fine with. But more than anything, I'm hearing, do not go looking for information that's just going to upset you to try to give yourself answers about a situation. You already have all the answers you need within you, even if they're painful and hard to digest, especially if you're feeling resentful. But that is the only thing that's going to stop you right now from feeling emotionally triggered in the way I was seeing someone be emotionally triggered. Watch from the very beginning. Because what I described was of someone who was truly in a place of turmoil, like storm brewing in the soul. This magnifying glass, you don't need it there. You're only going to hurt yourself in the end, because I promise you, and again, from experience, if you're meant to know something, you don't have to go looking for it. It will show itself to you. So the only reason you would go looking for it is to validate the narrative that you've been telling yourself, that you are the victim. And we need to get you out of that mindset, right? What's this mask? Um, so you're presenting like you're fine. And that's not, you tell me, it's your reading. Is that working? That your wishes are coming true and you're comfortable and you're having good health and you're balanced and you're vibrant and you're full of life. And I'm not saying that you're not, but that is over the mask. So concealed behind that exterior that you're showing other people, there is a persona that you are putting on, right? And inside, you are deeply, deeply unsettled by things. So I'm even hearing this too, and you could be getting some really bad advice from people where it's like, oh, fuck them. It doesn't matter. Just like show them, show them what they missed, or show them. Listen, I get it. And sometimes that can make you feel better in the interim, like in the short term. But in the long term, it doesn't make anybody feel better, because if you have to perform happiness, then you clearly still care. And caring is something you need to address, because there's nothing wrong with that. But this collective, you'll get what I'm saying. I'm trying not to, I don't want to like trigger you further. So I'm trying really hard to choose my words, but that behavior is petulant and childish. She'd be like, show them what they missed. Who cares? Why would you spend any time or energy like performing in front of somebody who hurt you? Because again, from experience, it's not going to have the effect that you think it will. Sometimes people get jealous. Sometimes they don't care. Sometimes they detach further. Sometimes they get angry. It doesn't matter. It's never going to heal the pain, because the pain is your responsibility to address. It's not going to come from somebody else's reaction to your behavior. Do you get what I'm saying? It's what's always creating this course disruption, is assuming that if you do X, Y, and Z externally, your environment will start to soothe what's happening in your soul. It's not going to happen that way. It never has in my life. Yeah. So every time that you go outside of yourself for validation that everything is fine and that you're happy and go lucky, blah, 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 it causes a course disruption. Normally, this white wolf card would be such a card of strength to sit in your independence and, understand your stamina and be who you are. But look at how it's paired with these two things. Confirms everything I just said. So you going out there and being like, I believe in myself and I'm powerful. Those are true things, but you're waiting on somebody else to witness it with their imperfect me eyeballs to validate it. You don't actually believe it. You need other people to witness the persona. It's not genuine. And again, I'm not saying this to trigger you. I genuinely am not. But the soul can tell when energy is inauthentic. So even if you are presenting like the baddest bitch on the block, nobody is buying it. Nobody. They could say they are, and maybe even in their mind they're believing it, but energy doesn't lie. And when it is inauthentic and it's being propped up by trauma, it will always come off as just a little bit odd, a little bit performative, a little bit exuberant, a little bit wild. You know what I mean? There's a huge difference between genuine confidence and coming from a place of fear. Even though I do like that saying that the nice thing about confidence is that nobody can tell if it's real or not. I do believe, because I'm an energy reader, so I read energy all day long. I can tell when someone's confidence is truly rooted in trauma and they're not just trying to be confident to make themselves feel better. There's a big difference. Like trying to be confident when you don't actually feel it for your own personal growth, not to just show someone else that they, missed out, is different. Do you get what I'm saying? We want you to like stand in your confidence and your trust your inner knowing because you deserve to trust your inner knowing. It all comes back to that self-love. You have to love yourself enough to think that you are worth experiencing this, not for somebody else, for you, for you. You're the only one. What's this Clover card? So feminine energy, or the situation could be with another feminine energy. So let's just take it to you first. So this feeling good, this good fortune, this being carefree. Again, there's two cards here about like the masked sort of behavior in a moment where things should be more lighthearted. So they want you to understand that within you, there's always luck on your side if you can control those emotions to the point of actually walking through a trigger, right? But if it's external energy, you can't control where other people are in the world. Even if you ask your friends, hey, please tell me if someone's there because I don't feel like dealing with it tonight, whatever. It's just gonna happen. Just gonna happen. People are gonna show up. Like, things are, you can only control you. That's why you healing your trauma is the most important part. And especially if like you guys really have intertwined friends, like you're going to have to do some serious boundary setting and then boundary holding with those people if it's constantly making your trauma worse. Because you cannot heal if you're just being triggered 24/7, right? Just consider that. I want one more. Oh, good. So you got the Rider and the Messenger card. Now I'm hearing a few things. If you've been telling yourself to just get back out there, start dating, and you've met someone who's feminine presenting, or even if it's you, and you're like, I see this, Rider card as the Knight of Cups. And I love the Knight of Cups, but only when it's about personal development, because he's on the knight's journey, and all the different knights have their different way they go about their journey. It's what all the different suits are for, right? So Knight of Swords, he's on that journey of the mind, intellect, right? Swords in tarot is air sign. So it's all about the mind and intellect and learning about yourself and coming from a more logical place, not moving with emotion, walking through heartbreak in a logical way. Coins, Knight of Coins, that's the slowest moving knight. He takes so long to get to where he's going because coins in tarot is years that he kind of forgets he's on that path. But what he's learning by taking the long way is how to be loyal, how to be patient, how to be conservative in his approach, not the ideology. I mean, like the way he reserves his energy for when he really needs it. Cups or what was he? Wands. Mr. Charismatic Casanova, he is one of the fastest moving knights. He's learning how to temper that energy within and have a rebellious spirit, but also be controlled and not be volatile, not be jealous, while also being, flirtatious. He's all about the adventure in life. And then we've got Knight of Cups, which is the one I mentioned. There's a reason I'm going into all of these, because I don't think you understand the journey that you're on is more self-discovery and less external. The Knight of Cups is a slower moving knight. He's almost as slow as Knight of Coins. Months in tarot is the cup suit, but he is learning how to love. And the way that he does that is by learning to love himself absolutely first. Because he understands as he goes from town to village, that if he's constantly giving his cup to somebody else to drink out of before he drinks out of it, he'll never have any at the end of the night. So he learns how to fill his cup up first and drink from it first so that he can share in that love with other people. And then he turns into the Queen of Cups and then the King of Cups. You get what I'm saying? This source is trying to show you that you cannot have little flings and unexpected rendezvous and just be like, oh, everything's lighthearted and carefree. When you are on the cups journey, you need to learn how to care for and love yourself. Otherwise, you will not get to experience those things in the profound and important level that they are meant to be experienced. If you want to be the type of person who is always getting used by other people for love, then that's your choice. And again, there's no judgment. I think some people genuinely don't care. That's a very probably rare percentage of our population that's like, I don't care. I'm just down to do whatever with whoever, and it's all about the experience and have no emotional attachments. Whatever. Fine. That's fine. That's how someone wants to live their life. I believe them if they're really happy. But for you, it's all over your contract for you to learn how to just be authentically you and care about yourself so that every time you encounter other people, you don't have to wear that mask like everything's fine and then feel used and victimized in the wake of you not speaking your wants and your needs. Do you get what I'm saying? It's important. All right, let's get this last row, which is about going public and being heard. Again, when I first started your contract, I was talking about how the way I started this whole reading, which go back and watch the whole thing if you haven't, this really lines up. But again, this is also just where you are for personal discovery. So let's see what comes out with it. Oh, perfect. So the megaphone is about going public and being heard, but broadcasting and finding a wider audience and speaking up for what you really want and need and increasing your visibility and a major announcement. And look at what you got. Heart and mind connection. So this whole journey right now where you are is completely designed perfectly for your soul to learn that lesson, how to speak up in the moment that you need to have your, voice heard, being compassionate, having wisdom, being mindful, having a nice balance between intellect and emotion. Because right now, whether you know it or not, you think you're thinking about things rationally. You're not. You're actually coming from a place of such emotional suppression and repression that logic has gone completely out the window. And that's we're shifting the perspective. You're brand new to this or newer to this, so that's okay. But you have to have a balance. Is this rational? Doesn't make sense when you're trying to feel an emotion and not suppress it. And if you're in a place where you're constantly feeling that emotion, then we need to have mind balance and be like, wait, what's going on here? Do you get what I'm saying? I think too, I'm hearing you need to be telling people that you're on this journey because nobody, in my opinion, has a successful healing journey when they do it completely by themselves. One of the biggest, and just my experience. So one of the key elements to someone healing in a whole and complete way is to be vulnerable about their healing journey. To just be like, hey, I'm really working on this right now and I'm not very good at it. But like or I'm not even saying negative things because I'm a really big advocate for positive self-talk, but just being like, hey, I'm really working on this right now and I haven't gotten to a place yet where I have it under control. So it's not really something that I can go do when, X, Y, and Z is going to be there. I think it's just going to be too emotionally tasking for me. And some people can be like, okay, whatever. And then that's an indication that those people are not really your friends, your family, your lovers, whatever, when they're like, okay. But a lot of the times people be like, oh, that makes sense. Like, yeah, thanks for telling me. I'll be more mindful of that. Like it creates this really beautiful healing web where you weed out people who are not interested in supporting you and you call in people who will naturally attune to your healing journey and will help you along the way. Again, just my experience. But taking that leap of faith to be vulnerable around people when you're healing is one of the hardest things that, in my opinion, I've ever had to do and other people will ever have to do because you're coming from a masked ego place where you're saying, I'm not perfect. I'm not okay. I'm not happy all the time. And that to little you that was building the mask was dangerous. But now as an adult, it's necessary to be vulnerable. You have to. You will never be able to make authentic decision making until you can get into a place of balance emotionally and mentally in your healing journey. Even me, I don't catch myself every time. There's some things where they just come over me and like I have complex PTSD. So the things that trigger me can be so fucking innocuous and I won't even realize it for days and be like, oh my God, I've been zoning out for like 3 days. What happened? You know what I mean? Like you could literally be dealing with something like that. But when I do catch myself, I am able to then process the emotion, journal about it, draw about it, collage. Like I use creativity, which I think you should also pick up some sort of creative hobby to work through those emotions. Just thinking about something is not gonna, it's not gonna do it. You need more tools in the toolbox. Some sort of creative outlet, dance, singing, writing, drawing, something. Pick something up. It's part of your homework. But I will do that. And then that is a heart mind balance where I can be like, all right, so I thought about it. I created about it. I felt it and I'm walking through it. I acknowledged it. And then it puts it to bed. Then I'm like, okay, cool. That was just Wednesday. Right. Instead of me being like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? It's necessary. But again, another part of your homework on top of being creative is you're going to have to start telling people that you wanting to change yourself. You're not fine. You're not okay. You don't want to pretend like you are, the like it doesn't bother you and blah 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 blah. That's such an immature, and I get why people do it. It comes from trauma. But that's not the type of revenge that really heals the soul. Save your revenge for people who really need it. And the best revenge is living a better life and not holding on to resentment and blame and hatred. And just truly, that cold revenge that people really talk about loving but don't understand is detachment. And guess how you get detachment? By healing and not giving a fuck. But if you care, that's not revenge. That's you performing revenge, and it's not authentic and nobody believes it. Just have to say that. I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but it's like just admit it to yourself because it's very obvious. It's very obvious that you want to be loved and you desire to be loved, and that is a normal, totally normal thing that nobody should be ashamed about. And someone didn't give that to you, and now you're upset. Like that is much less cringe than just being like, whatever, fuck them. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's a maturity. I really think it's a maturity thing, regardless of the age. Try to see it outside the box is all I'm saying. Last one for where you are in your contract. Whoa, well, I guess that's not that many, but yeah. Every time you're going out to some sort of public venue, every time you are going to a party or a meeting or event or some sort of outdoor, whatever, playing the field really, really confirms what I've already been picking up. All it does is create obstacles. All it does is create problems and makes you feel distant and cold and barriered and interrupted. It literally creates delays. Look at how these confirm each other. Every time you're trying to do this and pretend like it's not bothering you, it's building up bullshit in your soul. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. You know it's not working for you. And again, if you're getting really horrible advice and you want to keep those people around, like they're personal friends or family or whatever, then you're going to just have to tell them to stop giving you advice. Or you're going to have to remove those people from your life. Start with, hey, I don't want to hear advice anymore. This is not working for me. I want to try something else. Like, I really appreciate you, and I'm sure you just care about me, but I don't want to hear that anymore. It's not working. I'm going to try this. Can you support me in this? Can you help me with this new path of healing? And if they can't, again, clear indication they don't belong in your healing web while you're trying to heal yourself. And if you're listening to or consuming media that's talking about being, show them what they missed and do this and do that so that you can be better than them and then you need to stop consuming that media. It's poisoning your brain. It's not making you feel any better because you're doing those things and then it's not working. Do you get what I'm saying? I think for a click of you'll know exactly what I'm saying. Again, I think it probably does work for like a handful of people, but it's the showy way to get over something. I don't need anybody. Fuck that person. How they hurt me doesn't matter. I think it does work for people who are emotionally distant and detached, but that they have their own issues, right? Like you are feeling this very intensely. We want to acknowledge it. All right. I want to see what they're trying to activate in you. And then we'll get what moon cycle you're in and tarot. Whoop, whoop. Anunnaki light codes. I don't know what that is. I still haven't looked up all the terms in this deck, so if they're problematic, I apologize. Someone just tell me in the comment and I'll make adjustments as required. But it says energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. Perfect. It's where you are right now. They are confirming this that they're trying to close out this cycle that you've been sitting in emotionally so that you can move on to something better. So you can quantum leap into something else. You know what's coming to my mind? It's so odd. I don't know if you've ever experienced this and not realized that you've experienced it, like a true quantum leap. And I know everybody has their different whatevers for what that is. But I experienced one so startling. Not the actual leap, but the evidence of the leap. And I don't know why I'm feeling called to tell you this, but maybe because you've experienced this and you need to understand that you've been through one. But so, was it No, it was 2 years ago. I had like 5 or 6 incidences over like a 6-month time span that I would be like doing things in my normal everyday life and I would notice something and it would stop me dead in my fucking tracks because it was not the way it used to be. So the first time I noticed it, it was my neighbor's numbers on their house, the color of them. And I walk by it every day, multiple times a day sometimes for the past almost 10 years I've lived in this house. And I saw those numbers and it stopped me dead in my fucking tracks because let's be real, I'm not insane. I know he probably could have just painted the numbers, right? But the feeling I got from seeing it was like, that's not right. They were just a totally different color, right? I wrote it off because I was like, don't be insane. He could have just painted them, right? So, but then it started happening with all kinds of other small little things. And the one that truly took my breath away, because as they started happening, I have to say this, as these little differences in my world started to happen, I started to verify whether or not they had always been that way. Like going back through photos or asking people, do you remember this? Has it always been like that? I started actually doing the digging into, has it been like this or am I going insane? And the one that genuinely took my fucking breath away was a podcast. I'm not going to say which one, but it's like one of my favorite podcasts. It's like a storytelling format. It's not just two people talking about world events or whatever. And I listened to this, which again is one of my favorite podcasts. And when I'm on long drives, especially with someone who's never heard it, I always like to put on this one specific episode that I think gives a really good tone for the whole series. And so I've heard this one specific episode probably a dozen times, right? And it's like an hour long. Again, it's my favorite one to show people. And the ending of that episode was different, completely different than how I know I've heard it over a dozen times in the past. And I had to like pull the car over because I genuinely felt like someone had knocked the wind out of me. And I was like, I'm not in my original timeline. I'm not my, like, cause like all these other things had happened before that. And I'm not going to go into all the other ones, but like it was some really insane things where I was like, that's not the way it's always been. And I know for a fact. And like I'd go through my phone and all the pictures of it would be gone. Anyways, it's coming to my mind because when you're going through something like this, where you're shifting energy, you are very likely trying to move, your body is trying to move into a new timeline. It's trying to quantum leap. And I believe we do it all the time, imperceptibly, because there's more timelines than we could ever possibly imagine. It's infinite. So sometimes those leaps are really tiny and sometimes they're really fucking big. Keep an eye out for those differences and don't be startled if you start to see them. It means you're literally moving to a reality or a situation that is more in alignment with your highest self. But you can also, I think, jump in the opposite direction. Get what I'm saying? The energy is around you to literally have an energetic shift and end out this cycle. End it out. Let's get you one more. Sorry, that was like a long tangent, but I think it's relevant for because again, anything I say in reading has a meaning, but you just get that feeling where you're like, huh? Like, so, and it happened in such a short period, like 6 months. It's never happened to me in that, I've had those things happen, but not in that condensed of a period. Just like every couple of weeks, a new thing where I'm like, no, not that. I had like a little list on my phone. Anyways, okay, solar light upgrade. Oh, solar. So literally all of your true confidence, and we talked about that a minute ago. Solar plexus chakra, inner fire, and willpower. You need to go sit in the sun. You need to, with sunscreen, if you need it. Well, I think most people probably should just wear it at this point, but literally they're trying to ignite your actual true confidence, not the fake confidence, not the confidence of the mask or the confidence that other people are going to see and then, confirm, oh yeah, you're a confident person. You don't have to heal, right? True confidence where you don't give a fuck what anybody else says because you love yourself enough to know what's best for you and you don't align with things that don't, right? It's a very nice feeling. Trust me. Okay, I want to see what moon cycle you're in, and then we'll get tarot. Okay. What moon cycle is this collective in? Whoop. Your commitment is being tested. Your commitment to yourself. So I believe that. And prosperity lies ahead. So you could have a huge abundant block right now and not even realize that that's what this is causing in your soul. I'm hearing too, like if you are really in this cycle of thinking, you could just be letting a lot of your, prosperity is not just about money. It's about things that make you feel like you are grounded and secure and abundant in your reality. A position where you can be and do what you want when you want to do it, and there are no restrictions emotionally, financially, physically, whatever. Like, you could be really focusing on this cycle because they're really trying to burn it out of you. I'm surprised you didn't get the Phoenix, but they're trying to end out this cycle so that you can have true prosperity and trust in yourself. That's really nice. But your commitment to yourself is being tested. No, and it makes sense with everything about your life path that we've talked about. Nobody is going to confirm that you're healing except for you. Nobody. And just unfortunately, the true meaning of healing, a lot of people are not going to get it because, and I say it almost every day, most people are very self unaware. So when you start healing, people start literally dropping off because they're not healing. You're just on a different frequency, and that's okay. It's not morally good or bad, but it's different. It's just you're seeing the world in a different place. You're feeling differently about yourself. The people that are meant to be there will always be there, but your commitment will always to yourself will always be tested because everybody else around you, 85% of the population, is very committed to being self-unaware because that's where they're comfortable, right? Keep it in mind. One last one. You are good enough. You are. Social media is, there's so many beautiful things that have come out of the internet, and it is also one of the most horrific, mind-numbing, soul-destroying landscapes in the current existence to engage with on a daily basis. Like, it is so beautiful and it is so horrific all at the same time. But one of the horrible things that it's done is just poured jet fuel on the fire of comparison in a way that is so fucking unhealthy. I can't, oh my God. If I can think of the name of this author, of this, I can't remember if it was a column or what it was. Someone wrote something and I read it like a couple years ago. And it was talking about the psychology behind us seeing ourselves and what that has actually done to our brain. Not just in mirrors, which again is not that old of an invention. Like relatively new in the time span of human evolution. Oh my God, that was crazy. Have we had like modern day mirrors? But just the psychology of constantly seeing our own reflection and what it has actually done to the brain. Look it up based off that if you can find it. If you're a good Googler, you should be able to find it. Don't ask AI. Fuck that. Don't ever use AI. But if I can find it, I will put it in the comments of this video. But it was so eye-opening to realize that like we are not supposed to be looking at ourselves this much. We are not supposed to be comparing to anybody for any, like we're just supposed to be living life. We're not supposed to be working this much. There's so many things we're not supposed to be doing right now that are just dogpiling on all of our souls. One of them is the way that capitalism and social hierarchy and all this bullshit strips us of our self-worth. Don't let it's your right. It's your right to have an experience here. You are good enough for that experience, no matter what anybody says. Just I could go on a whole fucking tangent. I could literally rant for hours and hours and hours about the rot that capitalism has brought to our brains. But I'll save you and I'll do it for myself later. But just try to remember that there's other shit, there's more important shit going on in the world. Truly, truly. Get out of your own way and get out of your own head. It's not that serious. All right, so what is coming next for this collective? Okay. Good. Oh, good. Okay, so you've got Six of Cups in reverse, Death upright, which is great. That's about external change and a total overhaul, renewal, a new start, but letting go of the past. And it's external, right? So it's not I don't think it's gonna feel great, but there's gonna be, and I've touched on it a bunch. There's gonna be parts of what comes next in your life that are gonna continue to shift your reality, but it's for your highest alignment, right? Whether that's you walking away from friends, other friends walking away from you, love interest, family, like you have to align correctly in order to heal. You can't heal in a broken place. Then you've got this Eight of Cups and it's kind of horizontal, but then you've got new moon energy. So there's cosmic energy around this. You don't see it, but you feel it because I see these like timing cards as indications from the divine that they're getting involved to help you, right? It's not just an obligatory like time. Because there's only two in this deck, right? There's the summer. I think there's three, maybe three. Either way, doesn't matter. But there's not a bunch of them. So again, it's an indication to me that by the new moon or with new moon energy, and I know we kind of just passed one, so it would make sense if over the next about month, there's still transition in the soul here, but there's a change in direction so that you can set new intentions. They're trying to give you the energy for a new cycle beginning, but they're not going to be able to kick down your door and shove it down your throat. You got to meet them halfway. It's like wanting to win the lottery and not buying a ticket. You have to meet the divine halfway. And in order to do that, all the things we said, on top of all the ones that you already know to be true in your soul that we didn't go over. But there's germination here. So the seeds you're planting now and have been planting for however long are starting to germinate. That's not where we stop watering things. Like, we still need to transplant those, take care of those, and then harvest season comes well after that. Get what I'm saying? The thing I'm worried about is these two, because Six of Cups, this is revisiting the past. It can be a card about childhood trauma, which again, we've touched on a bunch, but someone returning from the past and nostalgia. And people love nostalgia. And I do too. I walk down that nostalgia road often, but the one thing about nostalgia that is really dangerous, in my opinion, is that as you walk down that road, you edit those memories ever so slightly and imperceptibly. We all do. We all edit our worlds constantly, but especially our memories. The older the memory, the more it's edited. And we don't even realize that we're doing it, right? So, I mean, now with technology, you can actually like physically go back and look at memories, but when you're just in your mind about it, things get really distorted and warped, and that's what creates the chaos. So we know that's where you are now, but again, it worries me because it's people and situations returning from the past sometimes, and then there's this Eight of Cups, which should be upright, walking away from things that don't serve us, but it came out horizontally. So there's a little bit of a test here. I want to get this one more for the Six of Cups. Oh. And see, now you've got Three of Wands in reverse underneath it, and that's literally about a lack of foresight and a regression. So when you are triggered, there's a regression of the emotion, and old patterns of thinking are coming up, and they're inhibiting your progress because you're thinking small. That's the problem. So this source is bringing these cards out for me to tell you to be aware of this pattern so that you can stop it and shift this energy. Because right now, this is how it stands, right? That every time you revisit the past, you're actually taking 2 steps back instead of 1 step forward. Get what I'm saying? What's this Eight of Cups? So every time you take those 2 steps back, you do not see or understand, or even if you do, you're staying for the wrong reasons in a situation that is completely unstable. Whether that be in your mind, in your memories, or in reality. So that means there's other relationships around you right now that are mirroring the patterns from how we started this reading. So watch the whole thing. But you're putting things under review, and that's great. And there's caution around you, your heart, and your mind. But there's details here that need to be ironed out, and that's why this Eight of Cups is not actually not actually upright, which means you're walking away from things no matter how hard it can be. This needs to be shifted in order for this new moon energy to land. Otherwise, you're just going to have a repeated cycle, and these seeds are going to rot. Do you get what I'm saying? What's this Death energy? Again, that's a major arcana. So that is, and that's your only major arcana. So that's an external force. Oh God, King of Wands, and he's upright. Normally, he's my masculine siren, but he's the most magical. He's an entrepreneur. He's a free thinker. I call him the mini magician because he's so full of life, and he just has that spark about him that's so charming, and he really shifts the energy in a room. He's a natural alchemist of energy. But he's very charming. He can be a little bit like a snake charmer in that way. He's a little bit seductive and hypnotizing. I do think that you embody these qualities. I do, especially if you're a Scorpio. Oh, you guys don't even realize how hypnotic that you really are, but it comes from that mystery facade, right? When you're using it correctly, it's very alluring. When you're not stinging the shit out of yourself. But I also think that this is whoever or whatever the situation is. It's very alluring. It's very charming. It's very on the surface fun and engaging and exciting, but you know in your soul that whatever or whoever this person is, whatever the situation is, you're just going to end up feeling used and abandoned because you're not speaking your wants and your needs. So whether it's the original person from the past or it's someone new, it doesn't matter. The cycle's going to repeat over and over and over again until you walk out of it and become self-aware. Do you know what I mean? Get one more for that. Yeah, perfectly confirms it. Page of Cups in reverse. Broken dreams. You're obsessing about this energy without realizing that you are that. You don't need that in your life to feel that way or be validated. Watch the whole thing. I don't want to have to repeat myself. It's so relevant for the whole collective. Just watch the whole thing. But again, creative blocks too. So you need to pick up that creative project. If this is literally consuming your mind to such an extent that it's creating financial blocks for you, then you are not busy enough. You have too much time. No offense, not judgment, but you have too much time and energy on your hands. You need to be applying it differently. Again, this is still very, very stuck. They're trying to give you the energy for germination season. Let's get one more for that. Yeah, but you need to heed the call. What did I say? You cannot win the lottery without buying a ticket. And this is not about winning the lottery. You cannot have a new story unless you heed the call. You can't have a new cycle until you end out the old. Nobody is the exception. Nobody. I don't care what anybody says. You have to lean into this new mission, this awakening, seeing yourself, this rebirth, this healing journey if you want a new cycle to begin. It's the only way it's going to happen. They're confirming it. And this is really shitty and it's hard and it sucks and it takes a very long time. But I promise it's worth it. I promise. You could curse me in every lifetime if that ends up being a lie. That's how sure of this being worth it I 100% am. Okay? Don't give up. Don't give up. This could be a new cycle. You will every time you give up, you take 10 steps back. Don't do it. Don't do it. You have to be stronger. You have to be stronger than yourself. Like you have to literally be able to stop yourself and get out of your own way. All right. Let's just get 2 for like semi outcome. Oh, no, that's way too many. No. Just 1. Oh, not good. Not good. You've got Star in reverse and King of Cups in reverse. Emotional immaturity and repression with a lack of faith and understanding. Despair. Dreams dashed. This energy can absolutely shift. This will always knock at your door because clearly you're destined in this life for more than suffering and pretending that you're fine. But it's not going to happen until you recognize your patterns and walk away from it. I think you can. But I'm asking semi-outcome. It doesn't look good. Change the energy now. Being repressed, emotionally unavailable, hopelessness, negativity, bored, despair. It's not inevitable. Change the outcome here. Change it. Quantum leap. Do it. It's not hard. Your body knows how to do it already. Just let it happen. Stop holding on. Okay. Angel of work and confidence. Oh, perfect. It says purpose, efficiency, motivated, new ideas, project, expedite, experience, and focus. Number 24. It will help you with projects, choosing a vocation, or when you feel overwhelmed with work. Perfect. Focus on work. If you have to distract yourself, do that. That's one of the tools in the toolbox is distraction. It's not all processing all the time. Sometimes it's just being like, we're not thinking about this right now, and then doing something else. I do it all the time. And I will literally say out loud, we're not thinking about this, like not this again. And then I will start doing something else. And it works. It works. It's not just a one-size-fits-all tool. There's no WD-40 for fucking trauma healing. Do you get what I'm saying? It says, I will help you. Oh, I already read that, but there's a reason I was about to say it again. Amidite, maybe get your hands on that. Spring, don't procrastinate. Don't give up. Don't give up. You have to love yourself enough to try over and over and over again and never want to fail. 555, major change. Oi, get your mind right for what's coming. Your angels are alerting you to new energy coming your way. Change can be seen as a negative thing, but with the right mindset and right alignment to your goals, it's actually your angel's way of readjusting your life to fit your desires. So you have less control over that death energy than you realize. Just remember that it's happening for your highest good. And I'm not saying that anybody is going to like permanently leave your life in that way. I don't want to even speak into existence. What they're saying is whatever is on your timeline with that judgment, they're going to make you heed the call whether you want to or not. So that means you could probably have a tower coming. Try to be ahead of your tower. And if not, when it hits, just understand it was never going to be load bearing to begin with, right? Life will look different when you get what you want. Take a shower or bath using water to purify your mind and body and promote your mental alignment with the great things that are on their way to you. Oh, this collective. Just remember, nobody is going to be able to do this work for you. And I think once you understand that you are absolutely worth doing it, you will lock in and you will absolutely be successful. Good luck.